All right. So giddy and excited to share this episode with you today. So, our guest today is Anita Nall. She is an Olympian and former world record holder. And beyond that, she is an incredible human, a mother, and a coach currently. Her work in the world, like literally as we were talking and having this conversation, was moving me in ways that I didn't know I need to be moved. So, a bit about her background. In 1992, in the Barcelona Olympics, Anita swept the cycle. So she earned a gold medal, silver medal, and a bronze medal. She's an elite member of the International Swimming Hall of Fame. She spent 3 seasons as the nutrition consultant and wellness coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Challenged by a series of mystery illnesses following the 1992 Olympics, Anita rediscovered her health through food. After working with top tier high performers like athletes and corporate executives for the last 20 plus years, Anita founded Champion Power Programs and 5D Athlete, where she teaches and coaches other high performers on how to reach and stay at the top of their game using her signature power plate formula and other wellness strategies for sustained health and success. She has over 40 plus years of experience in sport, certified holistic nutritionist specialist. She's a certified life coach, certified essential oil coach, corporate speaker, corporate wellness program creator, and nutrition and wellness coach to Olympians, UFC fighters, NFL players, Grammy award-winning musicians, fit from foodies, and developing athletes. She is incredible. And she's disruptive. And I love that. We share that in common. She is here to move the needle and to serve and to pay forward all that she's learned. She is also the mother. She's a sports mom, right? Mother of athletes, humans who are competing in sport. And she's also married to a coach. So we share that in common as well. So there are so many commonalities. I had no idea. I knew that, we've been in touch for a while now, but I had no idea the threads that connect our stories and our journeys. And so this was an energizing conversation for me. And there's so much inside of it to take away and to, listen to and replay. I know that I will be doing that. Her website, I'll have all this linked in the show notes, and we talk about at the end of the call together, but it's 5dathlete.com. She's just a force, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to be connected with her and to share this conversation with you. So here we go. Let's do it. Welcome, Anita. I'm so grateful that you're here today. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining me. I'm pumped about this conversation.
Me
Yeah.
too. Let's like totally just talk about everything.
All the things. Yes. We'll start. So we start, right? So we'll go way back, right? To the roots of just with whatever you're comfortable sharing, your cultural upbringing and background, kind of
Yeah.
where you grew up. And then we'll take it from there. We'll see where this conversation goes.
Oh yeah, I'll
Yeah.
share. I'll share anything you want to talk about. I'm an open book. Let's do it.
I love it. Yeah. So cultural upbringing and background, how do you feel like that shaped who you've become when you think about that piece?
Well, the first thing I think about when you say that is that I'm the youngest of four. So I don't know why, but that's just like the first thing I think of. And the youngest, the birth order situation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I kind of raised myself
Yeah.
because my sisters and my brother, they were all older than me. So they
Yeah.
were kind of like on a whole different wavelength than I was. I was kind of like doing my own thing. I ended up traveling the world, it's through swimming by
Yes.
myself without
Oh,
parental,
wow.
like,
Yeah.
making these
Yeah.
teams and stuff, you just go. And it's just, I find it when I look back, I just think how different it is from how my kids are being brought up. But I
Yeah.
do look at being fourth in the line of older kids, and it was
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh, she's fine. And I was always an older soul.
Yeah.
So I think my parents, I see that in both my kids. So I see how parents with kids who are older souls, you can kind of think they've got it all figured out, but then you
Totally.
forget that they're like still a 16-year-old.
Hmm.
So
You are talking. So I have 4 kids, and my fourth daughter. Like, I
you-
feel like you are so speaking. So, and like part of it, she's just gonna figure it out because she's gonna be part of the
yeah,
crew. Like she's gonna,
yeah,
and there is this that you're like I'm in it right now. What you're talking about is like reminding myself she is 9. Like she's just
yes,
9. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I have a dear friend who has a 12-year-old she's like really 35 or
Yeah.
40, I swear. And we were just talking about this the other day. I'm like, you have to remember she's still a 12-year-old like
Yeah.
girl on this planet.
Yep.
Her soul might be way, way more advanced,
So
but she's still learning to be in this body and be a
mhm.
12-year-old. So it's interesting, but that was me.
Yeah, I love that. So,
Yeah.
did your older siblings swim? Like, how swim? Like, when did you get
Yes.
into it? When did you Oh, they
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Swimming
Okay.
was our life. It was like our family. So my parents both worked. I was from the
Mhm.
generation where parents went to work all day and you just like dealt with it and fed
Mhm.
yourself and did the whole thing.
Mhm.
So they would go to work all day, and really the only thing that was close to us to be able to walk to was the pool. So
Yeah.
that's what we did. We all swam. My brother didn't swim. I would say he was like more artsy, played guitar and sang. And so
Mhm.
that was kind of his thing. But my sisters and I, we all swam, and that's what we did. We went to the pool every day, all day in the
Mhm.
summers, and then joined swim team. And then it just kind of cascaded from there.
From there. Well, and
Hmm.
pretty quickly, like, if we're
Yeah.
being right, so I think we share that in common, and I was 18 though, but we were like the young kids, and you were
Yes.
for sure, right? The young
Yes.
kid in 92. And so
Oh,
that
yeah.
one of the questions, so I have a friend that helps me when we're preparing for the podcast, like what questions she swam at Michigan with me, and she was coach
Oh,
at
great.
Tennessee and is raising kids now. She stepped away from coaching. But I'm like, "What questions do we ask?" And so she helps me in preparation. It's like, "So fast, like, how so fast?" Like, like, how did that when you look back at that and even
Yeah.
raising your own kids now too, of just
Yeah.
yeah, share whatever you feel comfortable about that journey kind of leading up to that space when you were 15. Yeah.
So I was always, because I think I say how I was a bit of an advanced soul in some
Yeah.
ways, my accolades in the pool kind of were advanced as well.
Mhm.
So when I was 12 years old, for example, I was swimming in a summer league team as the 18 and under.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just was
Just
my destiny. It was
and
it
you
was
love did
what
you
it
what did you
was.
love about the water? So you it was
Oh my gosh.
accessible and available, but there
Yes.
did you have a connection to water? Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
100%. I was all in on, like, if I wasn't at practice in the morning, I was back at the pool to play all
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so tan. I was like the tannest kid on the block all the time. When you start school in September, back east,
Right.
it was always September.
Yeah.
But I just think that the accessibility to it, it was
Mhm.
what we did, and I loved it as well. My sisters
Yeah.
did it and loved it, but not to the level that I loved it. And they
Yep.
didn't take off the way that I did.
Mhm. And so you're 12 in summer leagues playful, right? Summer leagues was it fun
Yes.
where you grew up? Yeah. So
Very
summer
fun.
leagues, like, it's like this neighborhood thing and there's a vibe
Yes.
to it, and
I loved
there's
it.
a freedom to it,
Mhm.
So you're
Yeah.
swimming with the year-olds as a
Mhm.
12-year-old. Did you have an awareness at the time of how fast you were swimming relative?
Uh, yes and no. I kind of just was like doing my best. And so for
Yeah.
me, it was like I was just like swimming and having fun and doing my best and having a blast. So it's just what it was. Sometimes I felt it was a little embarrassing because I won the High Point Trophy for the 18 and under when I was 12. And I thought that was a little embarrassing and
Mhm.
inappropriate when I was 12. I mean, I don't know,
Right.
how does a 12-year-old think that? But my parents were a little bit mortified too. It's like, come on, just
Mhm.
give it to
Yeah.
one of the 18-year-olds, or 17-year-olds, and I'll win the 12-year-old one.
Yeah.
Whatever. But that's how it was for me when I was very young. And then next thing
Mhm.
you know, I'm at the Olympic trials, breaking a world record at the Olympic Games next, winning 3 medals, and it's there it is. It was just like boom, 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 boom.
Mhm. And the
It was
awareness
crazy.
too. So at 15, so I'm raising my daughter, my oldest is 15. And so I was sharing with the girls about your background and they were one of my daughters like, "Wait, like Kylie's age?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And when you're in
Crazy.
it though, right? So from 12 and this kind of like rapid ascent S I want you I don't wanna speak for you, but my experience was like, it's just the next thing, like, you go to the meet, then you
Yeah.
try to make it back, and then you're fine like, so it's
Oh
just
yeah.
kind of you're in your own little, like, bubble of not even
Yeah.
realizing the magnitude of what
Mhm.
you're doing at the time. Yeah.
I'll never forget this. My coach, I was at I think it was my very first senior nationals. I was 14,
Mhm.
probably just turned 14. and I was swimming against a gal named Mary Ellen Blanchard. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember her
Yes.
name, but this is,
Mhm.
I'm older than you, but she was the breaststroke like queen of the time. And I made it to finals and was like in the same heat. And I was kind
Mm.
of freaking out because my whole wall in my house was
Oh my
like,
gosh. Anita,
was,
this
Swimming
is yeah.
World
Yep.
covers, and
Mhm.
every month I'd wait for my Swimming World magazine to come in and get that cover and put it on the wall. And
Yep.
so, of course, Mary Ellen Blanchard was on my wall. And it's like, but now I'm swimming against her, and I kind of had a moment where I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I belonged. And
Mhm.
he sat me down. He's like, you belong here." And that shifted my mindset. It was like, I am here. I
Mhm.
am here. This isn't like a fluke. I swam that
Totally.
time this morning. I'm supposed to be here.
Oh my gosh. I am literally this is so fun for me to have this conversation with you. That was my experience with Jenny. So, like,
Ah,
I'm following you, right? Like, my
yeah.
journey's following your journey, and, like, you got to swim with Jenny, right? Like, teammates there.
Yes,
She was on
I
my
did.
wall because she's the New England girl, and this was, like,
Yes.
my whole thing, and it was in Nashville, the at the for my f I can't remember where it was, but it was nationals, and I remember walking in and being like, "Oh, like, she's like a god, like a goddess,
Yes.
like, what
Yes.
how?" And my coach, he actually didn't have that conversation with me. He watched me get autographs and be in awe of these women, and then he's like, "So, here's the thing," like, he let me fall on my face, and he's like, "If you wanna be part of this, like, you have to understand that you're one of them. Like, you're
Yes.
here you have to beat
Yeah.
them, like, you can't see them as superhuman."
Yeah.
So, that was rough, yeah, that
Mm.
experience, but no, that's so funny, it resonates so much. So, this moment and I think there's so many young athletes when they level up and no matter not even just in swimming, but they get to that next level and they feel that feeling of not belonging and, like, they're
Yes.
not one of them, and I think that
Mhm.
that's a
Yeah,
part of the process. What would you s
it
if you could
is.
go back, would you say anything to her? That version of you?
Oh gosh. I've done this work before. What did I say? Let me think on it. I think I had to assure myself I was okay. Like, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Just relax a little bit,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you get so intense in these moments,
Mhm.
you don't enjoy a lot of them. And
Mhm.
I help a lot of the athletes I work with now, like, guys, this is a short moment of your life that you get to be this thing called athlete.
Mhm.
Enjoy every bit of it, even when you're crying because Mary Ellen Blanchard's in your heat and you didn't like do that great and you have like snot coming out your nose and you smell like chlorine. Just enjoy all of it as much as you can, because it's a fleeting moment in your
Mhm.
lifespan. And it's
Beautiful.
when you're just getting through and surviving those moments, that's not fun.
Mhm. No.
That's not
And
fun.
well, and it's hard to connect and feel joy when you're in that, and I know
Yes.
we share too, I've got, like, I know we share a friend in
We
Eric, and
do.
so I've
We
got my
sure
scale behind
do.
me, but this idea, that helped me, that lens of, like,
Yeah.
understanding this nervous system, those states of better understanding those spaces of actually, like, we're in fight or flight, like, it's really difficult to connect and smile
Yeah.
and make eye contact, so we've
Yeah.
gotta bring some sense of safety to our bodies. Yeah, so
Yeah.
okay. So you're at trials. Did you what like do you can you take us into that space for those that don't know your story and journey like leading into that? Were you the favorite going in or yeah,
Yeah.
take us through that experience.
Yeah, so I was the favorite. My main event was the 200, so
Two.
200-meter breaststroke, and I was the favorite because I was the American record holder going in.
Mhm.
And I the morning swim just like popped off like crazy, and I broke a world record. And I could hear the crowd. I knew something was going on because I could hear the crowd going nuts every time I came up.
Yep.
I could hear, and
Breaststroke.
then, and
Yeah.
for breaststroke, every time you come up, they're going, "Go,
Yep.
go," and I could hear it. And so I was thinking, I was just, it fueled me. It really,
Mhm.
really like fueled me to the finish of that. And I would say I wasn't like the type that set goals and saw the number on the wall and like was that's a great format for a lot of people. I just didn't have that skill set when I was younger. So I
Mhm.
didn't have any idea or like sort of vision of what it was going to be when I turned around. But when I turned around and saw that Walsall world record, I mean, it was the craziest day of my life. And then came back that night and broke it again. So
So
crazy.
amazing. And so you
Yeah.
make was the Olympics something you dreamt about? being part of the team?
Yes. So I have my very first article in a newspaper and it says, I want to go to the Olympics someday. And it's I had no idea what I was saying.
Right.
I had no idea what I mean, like, it looked really cool on TV. It
Totally.
was fun. It seemed fun. I love the swimming. So I'm like, I'm all in. Let's go to the Olympics. Like most kids, they don't really know what that entails or takes to get there.
Totally.
So then I had to learn that by the efforts put in from that point forward. But
Mhm.
yes, I had said it. I thought about it because swimming was all I thought about my whole life, all day,
Yeah.
morning, noon, night. And so it made sense to me. It was just the next thing.
Mhm.
Just
Totally.
made sense.
And so Barcelona, right, and you go
Hmm.
to the Olympic Games and you're part of relay. Were you
Yep.
part of the 4x1 relay,
Yes,
the
4x1
medley?
relay,
Yep.
200 breast, and the 100.
And the 100 as well. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Who was swimming? Who was your person that went with you in the individual events
Okay,
for both the two?
so the gal who went with me in the 200 was a gal named Jill Johnson.
Yep. Oh my
And
gosh.
then,
Hold on,
remember
pause.
Jill?
She came to speak to us. This is so cool. At a 10 and under banquet. And so I was 10 and under banquet in New England, my first like fancy thing. And she was the guest speaker and she was talking about when y'all got outfitted. And
Oh,
and
all the
that's
stuff.
literally all I heard. So I was
What?
like, I want to go to the Olympics to get all the
Yes.
gear.
Yes.
So
That was,
she,
oh my God, that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
coolest part for sure.
That's
Sorry I
so funny.
interrupted.
Okay, so I digress, but that's really cool because she was seeing her as a real human.
Yeah.
I'd see Jenny up on the wall and like a vision of her when she was back in Dover, but not up close. And so to see Jill and actually like hear this human, I was like, okay, whoa, this is real.
Yeah.
So that's so fun. And then what about the other event? Who was the?
Her name was um it's just escaping me.
It's
Megan.
okay.
She was young also.
Okay.
Sweet girl. Oops, sorry about that noise. She was young also, very sweet girl. We connected because we were both, I was like 16, she was 17.
Yeah.
And she was really sweet. Ended up going to Texas,
Okay.
swam at Texas for a while. I don't know the rest of her journey, but she was the 100.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you go yeah, then what? I'm gonna let you drive this with what you
So
want to
go
share.
to the Olympics, get all the stuff, that
All the
like
stuff.
you thought about. You
Yes.
get to go through like the warehouse and
Oh my gosh.
you have your
With the
little
grocery cart.
clipboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing on earth to me. I couldn't believe how much stuff. I'm 16. I'm just like getting all this stuff into my grocery cart. So that was fun. Then we get over there. I had a little snafu for me. My coach was always extremely involved in my direction
Mhm.
of what I was doing. So guiding me
Mhm.
always. So for me, not being with him, he was not part of the staff.
Mhm.
So I would say it was a little tricky to not be with him and not have
Mhm.
him there telling me what to do all the time. Quite
Mhm.
frankly, it's just that's what I needed probably as a young person. And I turned 16 actually in France on the way to the Olympics.
Oh,
So our training camp was
I
in
was in France.
Narbonne, France. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then I turned 16. They made this big giant cake. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that Jenny's birthday was also in July. So my birthday's in July. And they did this what are those French pastries called? The poof,
The
not the
croissant?
poofs. No, the
Oh,
round cream
cannoli?
puffs.
Oh,
Cream
cream puffs.
puffs.
Okay.
So they
Yeah.
did a cream puff
Oh,
cake
wow. Yeah.
with for all of us who had birthdays during the trip. And I want to say Jenny was part of that, but I
Oh,
can't
that's so
totally remember. But it was really cool to celebrate. I mean, who gets to celebrate their 16th birthday in France with a cream puff pastry
right.
cake
So
made by French people?
oh my gosh. I
It
love
was
it.
cool, drizzled
That's
in
so
chocolate.
probably amazing too,
It
right?
was.
Yeah.
It was. I would never eat it now because I have so many food sensitivities, but that's another
Yeah.
story. That's the
What's a
later
piece
story.
of this? Yeah, I would love to get
Yeah.
into that too. So same here. Yeah. Yeah. So the event itself, the Olympics, like, do you want to share any experiences from that?
Sure. Yeah. I remember, gosh, so much. Like the hardest part for me was not having my coach, not having my family. I
Yeah.
had to kind of like you can't have your family come in. I don't know how it is these days, but they couldn't
Mhm.
come in and see me. I'm just a kid and I can't,
Yeah.
like, I haven't seen my family. They can't get in. They're meeting
Yeah.
me at the, like, the,
Yeah.
the gate to get out of the Olympic Village because they don't have the credentials. And then, I'm going with them. What do you do? Where do you go hang out together? Like, they're in
Mhm.
an Airbnb somewhere that was far away. We had to go to that one day. It was kind of
Did
a
they have
mess.
the hospitality center at that time at
I
the
don't
Olympics?
think, not that I knew of.
No,
I don't,
that was a place where we were able to meet and connect, and then the other piece was which felt so cool, but we got cell phones, like, we were, like, the first to get cell phones, like, so that was,
yeah,
8 years later, um, so
that's
that I
right.
can imagine because that was the lifeline, like, that was the connection home to my coach, it was the
Yeah.
connection to my parents, yeah, so that must have been really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard, and I wasn't the type of kid that loved to, like, go sleep over or be away
Mhm,
anyway. Although I was having fun and I was with all these really awesome people on my team,
mhm,
I none of them are worried about me. I mean, they're worried about themselves. They have their own races to run, and so there's who's looking out for the kid? Really nobody.
mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Janet Evans was my roommate. What an awesome roommate. I mean,
Oh,
to
amazing.
she was one of my heroes also in sports.
Yeah,
So I got to ended up being a roommate. I would say she did a good job of looking out for me because she knew what it was like to be the little one also. In fact, that's what she
yeah.
always called me, was little one.
Little one.
Uh-huh.
That's so funny. I love it. How was your experience at the Olympics, swimming and competing? What would you say?
I kind of have mixed emotions about it because for me, it was a lot of stress. It was a lot of
Yeah.
um, suppression of just to get through it, of the just it was just get through it. And
Yeah.
so going in as a world record holder, that's what I was set to, win the 200 and
Mhm.
hopefully break another world record. I didn't. I got third. And then with that, looming disappointment over my head, it was like, okay, well, I got to come back and do better. And then I broke an American record and but got second in the 100 and then
Mhm.
finally got the gold the last event in the relay.
We say, like, 3rd in the world with the world
Yeah.
record is, like, the perspective and to the common person's like, "Are you serious?" Like, that is unbelievable, right? To be,
Yes.
like, placing 3rd at the Olympics, and when you're in it, it's like you're going out to race to win, right? Like, so there's this it's in that blend of emotions was what was really hard for me. Like, that appreciation of being there, and then also for me, it was, like, not being able to do it individually because 'cause I'd gotten 3rd at trials, and it was like, that's its own story. But that holding space for that all these things can be true at the same time, I didn't have that capacity. How did you navigate that space of, like, I'm here and I should be happy, right? Or I should be did
Yes.
you experience any of that?
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. But I was also a bit of a disconnection from myself. That's
Yeah.
how I probably would say I dealt with it, was
Coped. Mhm.
disassociate and, well, I'm
Mhm.
gonna leave my body for a little bit and let my body do the work, but I'm kind of out here somewhere.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I would say that was my coping mechanism as a kid. And then while
Mhm.
the body's over here still doing it and smiling,
Totally.
I'm over here like,
Mm.
probably slightly dying on the inside.
Yeah. That's real.
I
Yeah.
laugh, but it's real. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
saying that only because I'm being a little dramatic about it. I made it through it all. It's all great. But I didn't really want to. Swimming for me was not something I wanted to talk about or really do ever again when I was done, by
So
the
when you were
time I got
finished
done.
oh, okay.
Mhm.
So
So
with the Olympics or when you were done competing?
when I was done competing, so I
Competing.
continued to try. I got very sick. We can come back
Yeah, I
to
would
that
love to.
piece.
Mhm.
But I got very sick after, like, when I was 17. So the Olympics were at 16, 17 I got very sick. I kept swimming and wanting to, like, keep
Mhm.
doing it, but my body really didn't want to. And so eventually I still hung in there till I was like 20 some, and then that's when I hung it up. But
Yeah.
that was a really hard transition for me too. And the only reason I stayed in it as long as I did is because I didn't know myself outside of sport. So I was scared to death to, like, well, what am I going to do after this?
Mhm.
So I think a lot of athletes unfortunately do the same thing, hang on to it a little bit longer than they should because they really have no idea who they are
Mhm.
outside of it. And part of what I do now is to help kids expand themselves so that they can know themselves to be way bigger than just the athlete piece of them.
I love that. Oh,
Mhm.
I want to climb. So we will go in whatever direction. So if you want to share maybe even the why behind what you do, because I think that that's
Sure.
connected back to your story and then what you're doing. And you're also sports mom, like you're
Yes.
also wearing
Yes.
that hat.
Yes.
And similarly, your husband, like our stories, it's
Mhm.
so wild. Married to a strength and
Yes.
conditioning coach as well. And so that the ability to just have all these different perspectives and kind of I don't know that we can singularly say like from this perspective only, but just weaving them all together, what you're wanting to share, right? So the
Yeah.
driver behind why what you're doing. Did you end up going to college? I don't know if I
No,
did you
so this is a fun caveat of my story. So when I was younger, my coach thought it'd be a great idea to go professional and
Mhm,
forego my NCAA eligibility
mhm,
and kind of like stay and train with him for some
mhm.
time. And so my coach and my dad and me, we had like this meeting about it and decided that was the route I was going to go so I could accept some sponsorships. So
Yeah.
back then is way different than it is now.
Right.
Back then you had a choice. You could either accept a little bit of money and it's
Mhm,
not like swimming, and this is pre Michael Phelps era.
mhm,
So it's not like swimming was as big as it is now
mhm,
either, as far as just the knowledge of excitement for the sport.
mhm.
So um signed away my college eligibility to accept sponsorship from like Speedo and a couple of other companies, and then that was kind of the idea for me, so that I would not swim in college.
Got
So
you.
I did not get that experience. I did
Mhm.
end up going later, and I trained at Arizona State, consequently with Jill Johnson, now Chasson,
Yeah.
her husband, Mike Chasson. I
Mhm.
trained a little bit there I was training with the men's team at one point, and
Oh, that's so fun.
that was a fun experience just to be part of a college program, sort
Mm,
of, even though I was always on the periphery of it. But
yeah.
that was fun for me too.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I did so I remember signing that paper in the opposite direction. Just like,
Yeah,
"Here goes the money. Okay."
yeah,
Yeah. And now I had a call with a friend who's an attorney, and she's, like, in the NIL world, and we were talking about that. I was like, "The whole thing is so it's just so shifted so dramatically, right, of
so
where
different.
sport is now." Yeah.
Yeah,
So, okay, so you mentioned you referenced your body, and I'll let you just kind of share what you feel comfortable sharing, although you said open book, so right,
oh
so, like,
yeah,
tell us your story and journey
yes.
and what you know now that you maybe didn't, what was
Mm.
happening. Yeah, and then how it fuels the work you do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking back, it's easy for me to see now that
Mhm.
my inability to deal with my emotional trauma of the whole time period and holding a lot in and not really having a voice or speaking up for
Mhm.
myself. Um, it's easy for me to see now that that's probably was the root of my physiological issues that came thereafter.
Mhm.
So that's definitely, if we're looking at real cause of what transpired. So after the Olympics, but then if you look at just from the physical side, after the Olympics, at the year later, I got a very very bad virus. But keep in mind, I was never super healthy a kid as a
Mm.
kid. So I was never super healthy as a kid. And after the Olympics, I got this terrible virus that they were really worried. I was so sick that they were worried they were going to have to do what's it called, a spinal tap, to find out if
Oh,
I had
wow.
meningitis,
Oh, wow.
because I was just so sick and I wasn't getting better. It seemed like I just kept getting worse.
Mm.
But luckily, they put like a little timeline on it. Hey, if you don't start feeling better, we're going to have to go in and do this thing. So within that time period, I finally made some small recovery. This was weeks. This was like a week, several weeks illness. And I can't really say what it was. I don't know. We just say
Yeah.
some kind of virus. I don't really know. But looking back, it was a lot of emotional buildup and
Yeah.
stuff that was like begging to be dealt with, but didn't quite get the attention it needed.
Mhm.
So then dealt with that, but never really recovered fully. It was like my body just, because what did I do? What do swimmers do? I went right back into training and tried to
Mhm.
kill myself in the pool and get back to that Olympic level that I once
Right.
had. And it never happened for me. And it never happened because it wasn't meant to, because because
Mhm.
I'm meant to be where I'm at right now, which is helping other kids avoid that type of fate.
Yeah.
And so that is my mission, is to have help developing athletes grow
Mhm.
physically, emotionally, spiritually. That's
Yeah.
what I'm on a mission to do.
Oh my god. I just, like, paused to take that in. It's so powerful. And to go back to that time, and thank you for sharing, it's like the not knowing and and then the lack of, like, we think about where we are today, like, still there's so much room to grow around conversations when it comes to just the impact of stress and trauma on our body. Like, we're it's 2025 and we're not even there yet, right? We're getting there
No,
and trying to make waves. And you think about being in that space, like how hard that was, like just how difficult,
yeah,
right? Not knowing,
yeah,
figuring out what's happening. And then when the body feels like it's like railing against us, and then we're railing against the body in that space. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, just my goodness. So when it comes to getting out of that window and then being able to extract and pay forward, even in your parenting, like, so, like, what
mm.
have you maybe done as a parent, taking your experience and kind of that knowledge and wisdom gained and saying, I'm going to do this in this way, right? Like, and brought to your
Yeah,
children as you were raising them. And then
yeah.
similarly with the athletes that you get to work with.
So I might say some controversial things here at this point. Is I didn't raise my kids the way I would say standard, in any way standard.
Yeah.
Starting from their birth, I had home births with them. I
Mhm.
really just wanted to I really wanted to let my body do what it needed to do and trust my body. And
Mhm.
so, and I know this isn't for everyone. I'm just giving you my experience
Yeah.
and how it's grown me.
Mhm.
That by far, the home births for me was the most empowering experience of my
Mm.
life. I had a midwife and someone there, helping me along the way. Although we joke about her because I think she came twice. She came to the house twice, and then for the final, like, birth, but
Right.
most of the birthing was me and my husband. But I
Yeah.
have a coach of a husband like you, so it's
Right.
like it's fantastic because he was awesome. But it started with that for me, my different way of parenting, and this more
Mhm.
holistic way of doing things started right there. And
Yeah.
my kids are both, so I have a son right now who is 22, and he's a
Mm.
Division 1 football player, quarterback.
Mm.
And so it's been interesting because I did work in football for a little while. My husband's, the bulk of his work's been in football. So we have
Yeah.
a very extensive football background, he and I both.
Mhm.
And so that's been interesting. So he's in college. Now our daughter, she does Olympic weightlifting, and she's not even sure if that's going to be the full path for her. She's still kind of figuring that out, but that's a path she's been on for the last few months, and that she kind of ascended really fast on that one, but she doesn't want to go to college. So her school is not for her. So she's figuring out business and working with me a little bit, helping me with my business and growing that while she's still working on her athletics, if she's going to continue that or not. But he is the only one in school with a D1 program. And the whole collegiate experience to me has been quite an unbelievable one.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about a treadmill of running these kids
Mhm.
through, burning them out, and then setting them out to pasture. It's
Mhm.
actually quite makes me sick. I I have been absolutely what is the right word? Disillusioned by
Mhm.
this whole thing. Like, it is a big money maker now. It's a thing, but it is also, it's just like churn and burn, baby. I mean, get these
Yeah.
kids in. If they're not what we call, what is the word? Hold on. I have this great word. I want to make sure I come up with it. If they're not game ready, like
Mm.
when they come in there, there's no developmental processes going on anymore with these kids. And
Mhm.
that is what makes me disgusted by it. I'm like,
Mhm.
these are supposed to still be developmental years. These kids aren't
Yeah.
professional athletes. Okay, some of them maybe in college are, but even then, there's still development that has to take place and
Mhm.
is being grossly missed,
Yeah.
grossly on all levels. It is grind them, the strength and conditioning is like totally antiquated, totally,
Mm,
and so is the nutrition.
yeah.
And I have been very quiet. I'm not like, I'm not a big, I'm not on the internet. I'm not, the people I work with are private people, the elite
Mm,
athletes I work with, a lot of them. And so I don't boast. I'm not out there just talking about, but I have a lot of experience. I have 25 years of experience in
mhm.
seeing this behavior and these things going on out there that I just can't believe we haven't ascended past these antiquated
Yeah.
norms.
Yeah.
That's what I'm out to change.
Yeah. And so let's start, like, let's just start chipping away. What would be how well, and how so the approach in parenting, so decisions that you're making to, I would say, call it, like, be brave enough to go against the norm, the current,
Yes.
right? Like, to
Yes.
be sturdy in that way with your own kids, and then having them enter spaces, particularly your son enter a space like the helmet sport, like, culture is its own, like, each sport has its own culture, but right, so how what did you do in your parenting, and what do you continue to do to kind of support and nurture him to have that space, like, so he can stay steady, right? And then we can talk about,
Yes.
like, what big shifts need to happen, but
Yeah.
what are yeah, what can we learn from you there? Yeah.
So one of the things as a parent that we talk a lot in our
Yeah.
family. So everything's talked about in terms of just checking in. You got to check in. Their kids, no matter how much they look like they have it together, you have to check in with them. I always
Mm,
looked like I had it together. That was like that. I was
yeah.
cool, calm, and collected. You know, it was like the older soul,
Mm,
cool, calm, collected all the way. But I didn't have it together, and no one was asking me the right questions. So
yeah.
these I'm actually in cahoots with a school in Florida, a virtual school for athletes,
Oh,
where I'm
cool.
putting together a 180-day curriculum that covers all of my pillars of my
Yeah.
program. And so let me just say what those pillars are,
Yeah.
so you can see how my kids grew up, because this is
Yeah.
like what we talk about and what we are always emphasizing in the home. So mindset,
Yeah.
fueling, well-being,
Mhm.
recovery, and intuition.
Yeah.
So that one
Mhm.
is what I call makes the complete athlete, that fifth one.
Yeah.
So when we're disconnected from our intuition,
Mm.
how can we make any decisions that are best for us? So you have to get a kid connected. And how do you get a kid connected? Oh, there's lots of things to do.
Mm.
And that's what I'm creating in my programs.
That is so I love that so much, and I think, if I'm being totally honest, it's a part that's been such an important piece of my healing. It's an important part of our house, and I've not talked about it publicly, right? Like, in my private work, I will, in the work I'm
Yeah.
like, in the public facing, and what it just I'm just naming it as you're talking. It's like the disconnection from self. That
Hmm.
reconnection to self is everything, and this ability to
Yes.
connect, yeah, instead of looking outward, 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 it's like helping them go inward and have that, yeah, that's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Our
Thank you
our
for sharing
son
that.
who yeah, sure, and our son who's and I call it the complete athlete, and I'm writing a book called The Complete Athlete, so it's gonna be about all of that, putting it together and
Amazing.
having all those pieces.
Mhm.
And so, mm, our son is going through this process now. He's always been, well, I would say, connected to himself, but as soon as he goes into football, it's like he's a pleaser. And so he's learning as a leader, he has to, as a quarterback leader, you have to be more commanding,
Yeah.
and that your players have to see you that way. Your
Mhm.
teammates have to see you as the command center.
Yeah.
And so if you're more of a pleaser, mm, being commanding is not your nature. So
Well, the
that's what he's
tethering, yeah,
yeah.
coming back to here versus
Yeah.
being outward. Yeah, that's so okay, cool. So he's on that
Yes.
journey. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He understands how to connect with us. He's very self-aware,
Yeah.
but he's almost so aware of everybody else too, and their
Mhm.
feelings and their upsets, that he can feel all of that. And so he doesn't, he wants people to feel good and happy.
Totally.
Don't
Which
we
is
all?
I that's like a huge I think that's like this part of that that's human in another in some of us, it's like exaggerated, but I think that, no, it's so real what you're talking about, and I think there's a lot of athletes that are if they're listening or their parents are listening, like, cranking up the volume, like, "Okay, hold on, that's me. I feel myself in that space." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if
So
you have
oh,
a child who is inclined to please,
Mhm.
Um, you want to make sure that you as a parent aren't mm, increasing their plea, like that you don't become one of the people they just want to please so much that they
Mhm.
don't have a sense of self. So you've got to check yourself as a parent that you're not
Mhm.
instigating that aspect of them. Not that pleasing, when you're married and you have a partner, there's a part of life that their pleasing
Mhm.
is required, but it's not when you're 16, 17, 18 years old. And that's critical. That's critical,
Yeah.
especially for our
That
girls.
Mhm. It's and yeah, I'm just digesting this because it's what you're saying is resonating so deeply. I think I've said to my girls, like, I know I've said to them, it's okay if I'm feeling disappointed, you're not disappointing me. I'm feeling disappointed. And that's my emotion to be able to
Yes.
ride and process. And it's not yours
Yes.
to own. Yeah. So, oh my goodness. So when it comes to the systems, like we are gonna like there are people listening that I know are coaching, people that are listening, that are parents that are in positions of power to make changes. Like what if you had a magic wand, let's just play pretend. What would you
Yeah.
go in and structure differently inside of these programs that are now, the pressure's up. Like there's a lot of big money behind sport, particularly if we think about
Yeah.
football and the Power Four and even just Division One and those that have accepted that opt in, right? Now they're
Yes.
revenue sharing and it's
Yes.
like this whole thing. So what would you, if you had a magic wand, just shift?
Oh gosh, this is like such a big
Yeah.
topic, and it's a lot to shift. So first of all, we have to let's start with the physical.
Hmm.
The old adage of like more, faster, stronger, it's limited. Okay, it's
Yeah.
very limiting. And so physically, I'll just take football, for example, because I think that football perhaps could be one of those that's like still in the stone ages with the strength and conditioning. You The old days of like running and doing the same, like my husband who played years and years ago in the 90s in college, he is appalled and shocked at the same time that they're still doing the same running tests for football players are not runners, guys.
Mm.
Coaches, football players aren't running marathons. There's no reason for them to do 30 100s or whatever it is that they
Mhm.
do. I don't even know what the antiquated test is because I can't when I hear about it, I'm just like it is tearing these
Mhm.
kids up, okay? Football players are not meant to run like that. They're meant to run differently. Do they run? Yes, but
Mm.
not in that pattern. And so it makes no sense to be doing something. Also, this old idea that like I got to make you a man. That is their
Mhm.
parents' that is their parents' job. It's not a
Yeah.
coach's job. And let me just say this also. If a kid has made it to a D1 level, are there kids that need a little bit more? I'm not talking about being soft here. I want to be
Yeah.
really clear about that. That's like the other swing of the pendulum.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about making kids soft, but this be hard on kids so they can be sturdy. Come on. That's
Mhm.
like, this isn't the army, guys. It's not the
Mhm.
freaking army.
But even in that space, there's such updated, like, skill sets and training
Yes.
that they utilize, like, Misha Jha, I don't know if you follow her work out of she wrote Peak Minds, and she's out of Miami, and she, like, has done pilot, like, work with the military, and even, there's our crew here, same here, going over to the military bases and starting to infuse some of this, like, I think there's a disconnect with public awareness and how it's portrayed in Hollywood maybe, in the
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
and actually what training is going on when it comes to the military.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
That
with you.
would
Oh,
that
I
would make
completely
total sense to me too. But
yeah,
just that old idea of just like the yelling and the
yeah,
name calling and the this,
yeah,
that types, that is like level one. Okay. Level one,
yeah.
let's stop all that. There's no reason for
Mhm,
it. A kid who's choosing to do this at this level,
mhm,
really at any level, unless their parents are forcing them,
mhm,
a kid who's choosing to do this every day, they don't this should be fun. This should be exciting. This should be growth promoting,
mhm.
not like upsetting, depressing. I can't tell you how many girls in my era and even younger that I end up working with who are like, oh, they just yelled at me the whole time, or I had a
Yeah,
really horrible relationship with coach so and so because they just constantly berated me.
mhm,
That no one needs that in their life. So coaches,
yeah,
let's just make a pact. Like, can we all just stop that stuff? I know you get frustrated with your kids who
yeah,
aren't listening, but let's Give them skill sets instead.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. If you've got a problem with a kid, let's say they're not coming to practice. Okay, did you ever just try and sit down and ask them what their goals are?
Mhm.
It's really quite simple. Hey, your goals are to, let's just say, to be a D1 athlete. What
Mhm.
you're doing right now is not matching that. I'm not going to force you here. I'm not going to make
Mhm.
you do it, but your actions aren't aligning with your
Mhm.
goals. It's
Mhm.
that simple.
Which
And
is which is actually a true tenet of what the researchers, and I'm curious if your husband's ever worked with Andreas Stamatis, who's he researches, and he's in the strength and conditioning space, and he researches mental toughness, training mental toughness, and that's what you're describing is what he calls efficiency, is are the behaviors in alignment with the goals, and
yeah,
so asking that question, and I think, and I think speaking to just like the coaches, even the parents, in this old school notion, it's like change is going to challenge the body and the brain, like different bad, like nope, not always, right? So what we're infusing here and what you're sharing with these ideas of like, hey, let's, like, why are we why are we doing what we're doing, is it actually even working?
yeah,
And for the coaches that are operating in that way, like I don't know, I think they're doing what they're doing, and also maybe they just think that there's a value in it, but kind of like, and the invitation for those that are listening to pause and really really consider what you're sharing around, like,
yes,
is that actually moving the needle? Is it actually helping more
yeah,
than it's hurting? And what's the cost of that? Yeah, I think I just want to pause there, because even though it's 2025 and we hear the stories pop every once in a while, like they're similar to you working on the ground with athletes. It's like, this is actually still going on. Like
it
it
is.
actually is still going on. And there are people that are operating in this way.
Mhm.
And so holding space for them
Yeah.
and maybe slightly helping open the door, if they're willing to
Mhm.
listen, to
Yeah.
like, there's a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
husband and I right now we're working on a format for um like a workshop for coaches.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be really helpful to just I think they're doing a lot of them are just doing what they had done to
Mhm.
them.
Hence, like, your husband seeing drills that are and
Yeah.
tested or run, right? So we say, okay, the yelling and that piece of just that, like, idea, that more, harder, better, like, longer, all that, like, that old school, what I call mental toughness. And then this idea of the approach. I hear you saying approach, like, get curious. Like,
Yeah.
what's actually happening here? Yeah,
Yes.
I'm giving you back your magic wand. Keep going.
Yes,
Yeah.
and get
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this off real quick. We're in California, we don't have any AC, so I'm like everything has to be shut down to be able to do this because it'll be loud as you know what out there. So, okay, so another thing that let me get back on it. Okay, another thing that is critical is this developmental piece.
Mhm.
These Not every kid is going to come to you game ready. I mean, like
Yeah.
there's so much talent that's being sent off. These kids are being turned off by sport
Yeah.
because talented, very, very talented kids because of coaching approaches and that
Yeah.
coaches aren't seeing them. See
Yeah.
your athlete,
Yeah.
connect with your athlete, find
Mhm.
out who they are,
Mhm.
find out what their interests are outside of this thing.
Yeah.
This is the way to unlock the keys to their greatness
Yeah.
because that's what coaching should be is unlocking the keys to the athlete's greatness
Mhm.
and your job is to figure out what those keys are. And
Mhm.
so one of the basic keys, which I can't believe I have to say this, but I do, look your kids in the eye, get to know them, find
Yeah.
out who they are, guys. If you don't have an interest in that, I'm sorry, you should not be coaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just shouldn't
Yeah.
be. It's that simple to me. Why would a kid and I'm saying this, you guys, out of I've seen it on
Mhm.
repeat. I've seen kids. My nephew is a world class, no doubt, world class jumper in track and field.
Yeah.
Has gotten no training, has gotten no interaction with coach. Coach doesn't try and get to know him. And it's just, I'm like watching all this talent go to waste. I can't do anything. I'm not like, this isn't my skill set,
Right.
is the jumping and all that. But it's like, it's so disappointing to watch this, what could be so great, go to waste for
Yeah.
him. And he's disillusioned now by by sport. He
Yeah.
really doesn't like it anymore, because it's frustrating, it's upsetting, there's no connection.
The
We
connection.
are
That's what
human beings that have to be
mhm,
connected to each other. It's part of being human. And if you can't connect with your athletes, you need
mhm.
to look at that and find out
Yeah.
what to do there, like how to do that.
Right.
But it
And the
starts
and
with
as
just
the
talking to
kids
them.
change, yeah, and as generations change and just staying open like that is similar to teaching. I remember when I was back in the classroom and the principal's like, "We're gonna go to 35 in the classroom," or something in high school, and I'm like I literally had kids sitting on my desk. I had kids, like, over because we were just, like, busting at the seams, and he
Mhm.
cited a, like, research that's like, it's the teacher that matters, like, more than class size. It's, like, the number one predictor is the relationship that you can
Mm.
build, which there's a give and take to that with the numbers of athletes and like the just
Yeah.
the constant demands. And so being able to, I almost hear an invitation to just like clearing away, like pulling some things off to be able to create the space for the connection that's necessary that you're talking about
Yes.
to get to know who they're coaching and
I
taking interest in it.
I
Mhm.
couldn't agree more. And I think it's
Yeah.
gotten so convoluted with like new drills and forward thinking this, that, and the other
Mhm.
with the physical training that they just want to do more, 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 more of that.
Mhm.
And they're skipping these basic
Mhm.
levels that have to be achieved for, I think also it would make coach happier and healthier too.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I'm sure, because there's the human connection component, like, we're wired for that socially,
Yeah.
and this ability to know there's almost like a I think that when I work with coaches, it's the tension of, like, the time and the space, but being able to zoom past that to see, "Okay, well, what are the constraints? What things can I control and shift structurally so that I can set up the environment to be able to connect?"
Yeah.
And then segueing to parents too, I'm thinking of those that are listening who are parenting. It's like also knowing who your kid is. Like, I think
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
like this. I don't know what time warpy wild development like they go through, but you're just like, where did what like I was just like feeding you snacks and now you're
Yeah.
like this developed like growing human. And
Yeah.
so being able to connect in ways like of learning who they are even beyond just having conversations about sport. It's
Mm,
so easy to fall into that rhythm of just
it
like how are
is.
things going here in school and sport, but like who are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love like this is a huge piece for me. I'm just like yeah, an unlock of, like, the connection. Yeah,
Yes,
who are
let's
they?
go back to the parental piece of this.
Yeah.
So, for parents listening, this is too where you have to have conversations with your kids that sometimes they're doing things for you.
Mhm,
They're just make sure your kid is doing the sport for themselves.
mhm.
And if you have a kid that's not excelling, doesn't want to go to practice, you've got to look at that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. It's probably because number one, it's not what they want to be doing. Or
Mhm,
two, it may not be, it may be just the wrong sport fit.
mhm, mhm,
Period. Like it could just be not that they just don't ever want to play sports, but they don't want that particular sport. So
mhm,
just really ask them. I have found so many kids that because they started soccer at 5 and they got good at it, they stay in it and but they hate it. They
mhm.
really don't even like it. But no one's ever
Yeah.
asked them, "Hey, do you want to keep doing this? Do you like
Yeah.
this?" But because
That
they're
was
doing good, they just keep going.
mhm. That Lindsay so I don't have you ever met Lindsay, Benko at the time, but Mentenko
Oh
now?
yes.
So
Oh
she
yes.
okay. She was saying that. She's like, "It's also really hard too as a parent when you see talent." Like, you see, like,
Yes.
this and then the kid's not wanting necessarily to do that and to let them, but this is a theme that just keeps coming up and emerging, which is taking time to ask your child, like, what it is they're really wanting and
Yes.
honoring that. And then we've got to get out of the way and, like, put down our own baggage and our
Mhm.
own stuff and let their journey be their journey. Yeah, it's just that
100%.
message is so loud and clear through all these conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have to have their own journey. Neither one of mine are swimmers. I really didn't care
Mhm.
if they were. I had no desire. I wanted them to be active when they were kids. So, of
Mhm.
course, we tried sports and put them in
Yeah.
to see if they liked it, enjoyed it, would take to it. We did several sports. Lots of them didn't, just like focus hard early. Our
Mhm.
boy didn't even play tackle football until 8th grade.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, we were really hard on that. But then come to find out he's like behind the 8 ball, so to speak,
Oh, right.
when he goes to sign up for teams, because these teams are already set, because these kids have been
Yeah.
playing since they're 6. This is another oddity
Well,
of our
can you
sports
actually
culture.
take yeah, will you d well, like, what you feel comfortable sharing there? Because that's, I think, a percolating like, it percolates under the surface, this fear of falling behind and missing out, and it's
Yes.
like, well, if I don't so you're and he's now playing Division 1 football. So, like, can you take us into, like, how did you actually navigate that space when
Yeah.
it is so like, teams are built before tryouts, like, I've learned that too.
It's
Just like yeah,
unbelievable. We had no idea. My husband
yeah,
and I have been so naive in this process early on because remember, I didn't go to college.
right,
I did. I went to college, but I didn't swim in college. So I didn't have
right,
the collegiate experience. He did, but he was a walk-on who earned a scholarship. So we didn't
mhm,
have this like um, uh, recruiting period, which he
mhm,
had. We didn't understand, we didn't have social media. So we didn't understand that you should be posting on your Instagram every time you get an offer. It's so fake. It's all fake. Everyone says the same
mm,
thing. It's all fake. But apparently it's highly touted by the schools. Like
mhm,
they like that. So our son had a very, very, very unique, odd experience, which ended up having him at 4 different schools.
yeah,
But that's
yeah,
because they weren't the right fits, and we're
yeah,
not ones to stick with something that's not working.
yeah,
So we don't mind. We moved our whole family to the first college. Our whole family bought a house. Like we're loyal. Okay, we're in
yeah,
things to win it, in it to win it, until we're not. And so
right,
that was not. It was a terrible fit. We learned it right away and moved on, cut our losses. But
mhm.
what was the question I was answering here? We're going back
Yeah, so
to
how did you navigate when you when if a decision's aligned, so
oh, for
if I
him.
don't have boys, but, like, I'm not gonna have them play tackle either, right? Protecting
Yeah.
their brains or whatever my decision whatever the sport entry is, like, how do you then enter, quote, "late"? Like, so similarly, my oldest, I was like, "You're not playing hockey. Let's try swimming. Let's try soccer. Let's try basketball." Like, I tried everything under the sun to get her to not do ice hockey, and that's what she loves. I know I'm
I love
joking
it.
there, but it was like this kind of moment of, "Oh gosh," and my husband said, like, honestly, like, skill level is gonna become so great that her dreams that she's articulating at this, like, 8.5-year-old self version of her was like he's like, "It's gonna become so big, the gap." And so I'm like, "Okay, here we go." And so we entered late then, but like you're saying 8th grade, right? Like that's later than 8, 9 years old. So how
Yeah.
did you do it? How did you navigate it and find your way?
So I think things have a funny way of shaking out. There's synchronicity in life, there's
Mhm.
energy, there's all kinds of unseen things that we can't tell is
Mhm.
happening in our universe that is happening. And so I
Mhm.
just hold truthful to flow. If
Yeah.
it flows naturally, if we're not, we are downstream swimmers in our
Yeah.
family, and so that is what a motto we run by. If something's upstream, you've got to look at it and find out, is this aligned?
Yeah.
So I've what I've seen a lot is parents are doing this a lot. They're going
Yeah.
upstream. They're not aligning with
Yeah.
what is flowing. A child has their own flow. Our
Yeah.
son, he ended up flowing into the loser team.
Mm.
That's what it was considered. It was all the kids that sign up late that don't, that's the stigma it got, was the
Yeah.
loser team. And then we won
Yeah.
the thing, whatever it was.
Mhm.
This was
Right.
eighth grade, soccer, eighth grade, first time tackle football,
Yeah.
and we won the deal. And so it flowed. The coach
Yeah.
he got was perfect for him in that moment.
Mhm.
What I find is when we come into problems is when we're not listening to our intuition
Mhm.
and we're not flowing.
Yeah.
That's when we end up having all this upset, I think.
Yeah.
And so
And
there was a
disease and, like, the dis-ease and the
yes,
friction
yes,
and yeah, like, that connection too
yes.
to our bodies. Yeah.
Yes, it all
Yeah.
comes from not flowing and not listening to your
Mhm.
inner voice.
Yeah.
Call it
How do you make s yeah, how do you make space for that in this, like, wild world we live in? Like, what yeah,
well,
would you be open to share that?
sure. So with the kids, we just talk about it a lot. It's a lot of
Yeah.
like, well, what does your heart feel? What do you feel? Like,
Yeah.
I want you to go sit in your room, and maybe if you have to do a little meditation or
Yeah.
sit for 10 minutes and get with yourself, whatever that
Yeah.
means for you. And so for our kids, they've learned for themselves. It's like a self-soothing almost. Like you have to calm the nervous system down to
Yeah.
be able to connect. If
Mhm.
the nervous system is constantly in overdrive, your antenna
Mhm.
to call it your higher self, call it God, call it whatever you feels right for you, whoever's listening.
Right.
Your connection is fuzzy. Food
Yep.
comes into play here too, big time.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah.
know what
Talk
I
to
was
us
doing.
about that.
25 years
Yeah.
ago, I had no idea what I was helping my clients do, but that's what I was doing. I was helping remove some of the fuzz. So
Yeah.
when you eat in a way that's aligned for your body, you will get more clarity
Yep.
in thought, and you'll
Mhm.
be more aligned with yourself, your higher self. And
Yeah.
so that higher self is what we're seeking. We're seeking to be, and if really, I'm serious, like if you're a religious person and you want to say, get aligned with God, it's, to me, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's just getting aligned um, with your internal guidance system.
Yep.
And then that's going to help guide everything. And you will feel when something doesn't feel right,
Mhm.
pivot.
Yep. That's so powerful. That's like you're mirroring back to this like personal journey for me. And this after my fourth daughter was born and realizing that I had all these a diagnosis of IBS and like I
Mm,
was on heartburn medicine and all these different things and come to find out like I actually also had food sensitivities and removing those like had a profound impact on my mental health, which is
huge.
ultimately why like I'm pointing for those that are listening and pointing to the scale behind me why I was like really formally linked arms with that crew with Same Here Global and the work that we're doing because I'm like, this is like, I've got to share this part of my story because
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I had no idea that the inflammation that was happening in my belly was then impacting my moods. And I was
Yeah.
having these massive highs, like really just like having trouble sleeping and just kind of like supercharged. And then I was having these really low lows that were synced to my
Yeah.
cycles.
Oh,
And so it was
yeah.
like, so thankfully met with somebody that she was also my midwife, but functional medicine is her specialty, and she's like, "Hey, like, let's see what happens here," and that has changed my life, like, the
Life
quality of my
changing.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that what you're talking about, clearing that up has also helped me reconnect to that self, and
Yeah.
then from there, right, being able to know the difference between intuition and ego and intuition and fear, right, and that
Right.
yeah, and being we just my thing is like this world, the phones that we have, like all the constant
Mm.
stimulation makes us so disconnected from ourselves.
Yes.
So, yeah, so you say taking time alone and being in
Yeah.
stillness and offering and encouraging your kids to do the same thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've
Yeah.
always taught them that. For me, it was, I'm going to go take a bath. I'm going to sit there
Yeah.
with my, magnesium, and I'm going to relax. And when I can relax, I get in touch more,
Totally.
better.
Mhm. Yep.
And okay, you just said something else critical. I think I want to go back to the functional piece. And so I have
Yeah.
a functional nurse practitioner that works for 5D Athlete. She's
Yeah.
awesome. And my work is more functional nutrition. That's what I would call
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And that's not like my training is in holistic nutrition, but I've done extensive work in the functional world.
Yeah.
And now I'm even going a step further. And this has been really fun. I want to share with you.
Yeah.
Now we're doing DNA work.
Oh,
So we're
cool.
now taking, and what I want to do is my goal is to create a kit specific to athletes. So
Yeah.
a DNA swab where I'm not like a lot of DNA stuff now you're finding out like where you're from and that. No, this is
Yep.
like, hey, you have a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers. You're more prone to
Mm.
power and speed. You're more prone to endurance. Your body is not handling dopamine well.
Yeah.
You overproduce dopamine and you don't clear it. That when
Yeah.
we can find these things out and help people with the correct, I am never supplementing again. I guess I shouldn't say ever again, but there will be only maybe 2 or 3 supplements that I will give anyone without having their DNA test done now. Because you
Mm.
can actually be taking things that are impacting
That
you
are hard.
poorly.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I want to provide this at a mass level for all these developing athletes that parents, you're out there spending all this money. I
Mhm.
want it. I'm trying to develop things that are what I would call the maybe not mainstream things,
Yeah.
but these are the most impactful things that are going to
Mhm.
influence your athlete's output and their
Well,
life.
and
And I'm not just looking at performance here. I'm not looking.
yeah.
I think it's fantastic that my Olympic swimmer made her third Olympic team, and we got her prepared for that physically so she could go do that, and it was awesome. She, got to win some more medals. But what I'm really after here is the growth of human and the health and the
Yeah.
balance of these little humans.
Totally. And as a parent, it's like, "Oh my gosh, where do you go? How do you do this? What do you look up? Like, how do you like, whoa, holy cow." And I think
It's overwhelming.
that ability to right, to be able to turn toward trusted resources where you're like,
Mhm.
"Okay, help me understand. Okay, this is like we're talking about a human body, right?" So anytime we talk about sports, like we're moving our human body in a particular way to compete, right? But this
Mhm.
human, like this human body and all the systems are connected. And so when we talk about like it's not this like compartmentalized like one piece here and one piece here, but you're going like when I hear you talk, it's just like to the root, like the base, like your
Yes,
pillars are like foundational. It feels like
very,
this, yeah,
very.
this honoring this whole human and all of their systems in this my friend calls it like a meat suit that we're
Yeah,
in this 3D experience, like
right.
this human body
Yeah,
and and the soul too. I hear
yeah,
you. Like, yeah, so
yes.
nourishing the soul. Yeah.
And that
It's
is
so
why my program, why I'm called 5D athlete, because I want to help people ascend from this 3D experience to a more calming,
yeah.
fun experience. Really, I want a fun, enlivening, enlightening experience for our
Mhm.
athletes,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
this older stuff that existed. We're moving out of these
Mhm.
old paradigms anyway, so it's
Totally.
time. It's
Yeah.
totally time. It's the time is here where we are now consciously aware enough to be moving out of the old systems, but we have to create them. And so that's what
Yeah.
I'm here to. That's what I'm here to do. That's my vibe, and
I'm like,
that
I'm right with you.
yeah,
I'm so
you and
with
I,
you
we're
on this.
here. We're here for it.
And that's it. And so if you think like bringing it back to parents and kind of these are general questions, but this idea of like, where are we getting it wrong and what can we do? Oh, I don't know if I like the word wrong. Where are we out of alignment and where can we make these shifts um, when it comes to moving into this new space, a new way of operating? That's exactly like
Yeah,
you're putting language to this, like the feelings of this old school way, and we're kind of shifting out of that and we're growing. And
we
so
are.
as a parent, what maybe permission slips or nuggets that we can offer as they're listening of like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, I can do that.
I think the first one we touched on, number one, connect with your kid
Yeah,
every day.
connection.
Like get a little
Hmm.
bit of time to where you're really just tapped into where they're at and how they're
Hmm.
feeling about their life and their sport.
Hmm.
Get connected with that. Two, this is going to maybe be unpopular, but I wouldn't accept mediocrity with these coaches. And
Yeah.
coaches, I'm imploring you to grow into the new paradigm here.
Yeah.
And the reason why we had my husband worked with a young gal once, a teenager, who the coach literally called the girls. I'm not going to go into it, but he was like name calling them all the time,
Yeah.
chronically yelling at them. But the team, I said to the dad one time, why do you accept this? Like, why are
Yeah.
you allowing a grown man to speak to your daughter like that?
Hmm.
So it's unpopular to pull your kid off of an ACL team or NC, whatever this, what's the soccer?
Oh, ENCLE. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The big league.
Yeah.
It's very
Hmm.
unpopular to pull your kid off of, but I'm not going to sacrifice my kid's well being
Yeah.
for something like that. And guess what? He ain't the only coach out there. Okay.
Yeah. And that
There's
we have the
others.
we like really pausing there to acknowledge that. Like that is
Yes.
something that is so incredibly important. It's something like I joke, I like interview coaches and programs before. I'm like, what's happening here? Like, especially when they were younger, because the coach. So, one of the things Andrea shared, Dr. Stamata shared, was that second to parents, coach is the most influential person in a person in an athlete's life, period,
No
over the
doubt.
course of their life.
No
And
doubt.
so, that hearing that and having the courage turning toward the fear of like, what's going to happen, or am I going to miss out, and trusting the flow and alignment. Because if that's not in alignment, right, moving away from that into something that actually is
Yes.
actually going to serve your child. And yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay,
You
tracking. Yep.
cannot feel like it can be a lonely road sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
I've been doing this for 25 years. Like, and
Hmm.
my son's 22. I've been making very unpopular decisions for my kids for a
Yeah.
very long time. I've been kicked out of pediatrics offices. I mean, I have.
Yeah.
But I'm taking a stand for my kids when they
Yeah.
couldn't take a stand for themselves.
Yeah.
And that has, in my experience, proven tenfold to pay off way
Yeah.
more than staying in those situations that weren't in alignment with who we are as a family and what we're out to create in our life.
Yeah. So as parents, using agency and being able to, I'm just thinking too of an athlete that I'm supporting, similar situation, and her mom did just that. And it's like you're talking about with your son, and like like the quote lesser team. And I just think like at what cost? Like it's
Yeah.
actually the better experience for them as a whole human.
Yes.
Um, yeah, we really have to ask that question. And I think like at what cost is such an important one. Like what is the cost of this, and what are we actually chasing on that
What are we
treadmill you
going
referenced?
for? Yes.
Hmm.
What are
Hmm.
we want them to be growing and healthy, not
Yeah.
traumatized
Yeah.
and disgruntled by their sports
Just to
experience.
get there, and, like,
Yes.
both you and I, in different capacities, but have got there, like, we've got the thing, and that didn't actually, like, for both of us, brought more work to heal
Yeah.
than it did fix us or make us whole. And so
Yes.
that illusion is there too, of, like, so if we just get there, then, it'll be worth it, and it's like, actually, you're still the same person.
Yeah.
You're still you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still,
So
and you're going to be a better version of you because you're going to get what fuels your soul. You're going
that's
to get
it.
what fuels who you're growing into being when you
Mhm.
have that positivity around you versus the other stuff that's
This is
not
such a
aligned.
powerful permission slip for parents. Like, I really
Mm,
rewind this, like, listen,
mhm,
that idea of what you're saying of entering flow, and
mhm.
that being the greatest gift, and that is like that, instead of this friction and rubbing and trying to swim upstream and do all the things,
Mm.
it's this kind of releasing and allowing that actually that's the gift.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
My goodness.
This is, so many people are having their kids scheduled and overloaded with stuff
Yeah.
to do, overloaded with stuff to think about. They haven't even sat down to think like, is this working for us?
Mhm.
Is this what we're doing? Is this ginormous schedule that you've got to like put on some app
Mhm.
to work the family schedule for? Is this
Mhm.
even really working for our
Right.
family? Is this the best choice for
Mhm.
Bobby? Is this the
Yeah.
best choice for Sarah? I don't
Yeah.
know. You have to really look at that. Only you all, everyone individually can answer that for their families. But I know for
Mhm.
me, there's been decisions we've had to make that have been
Yeah.
very uncomfortable and
Yeah.
not mainstream and not popular. And
Yeah.
we just do them anyway. You just do it
Yeah.
anyway. And
Yeah.
the
And that's
more
so
people,
powerful.
guys, the more people that do this, it won't be uncomfortable. It'll
Right.
be, the new expectation will rise.
Yeah.
That's what I'm after right there. I'm after
Mhm.
creating a higher level of thinking, of
Mhm.
awareness, of being, of a higher vibe for our kids to be a part
Mhm.
of in sport.
I'm in. I just wanna, like, literally drop us like, pause us there. Yeah, so I wanna hear how this goes with the school in Florida, support your book when that comes out, so we'll definitely do a part 2, like, having
I
you
want to
back and
say one more
collaborating.
thing there because you
Yeah,
hinted
yeah,
on it. Parents, this isn't about parental guilt. I'm not trying to say you're doing it wrong. What I'm
yeah,
trying to say is you're just doing it how you know to do it right now.
right.
That's all.
Mhm,
And you've probably, if you're tapped into yourself, you've probably had these feelings I'm talking about before, like,
mhm.
I don't like how that coach just said that. And I'm
Yeah,
not talking about going off the, like, assessing everything. It's the big things. Are they yelling? Are they saying inappropriate things to kids that like just don't sit right with you?
yeah,
Is there a developmental process in place for this program?
yeah,
Let's just start with
yeah,
that. Because most of them, you ask a coach that and they're like, well, yeah, but there isn't.
yeah,
But there
right.
isn't. And
I love that question.
yeah, so just so
That's beautiful.
parents, we're not saying you're doing it wrong. We're just saying let's all grow. Let's
Yeah,
move this thing forward. Let's push push the needle. And when we
Mhm.
expect more and demand more of these coaches, then these
Yeah.
programs are going to arise.
Yeah.
The
It's so
options will
beautiful.
be there more and more, and the coaches
Yeah.
will have to come take our clinic so that they can be ready to do this.
Well, and I think that that's I will say, like, when a coach links arms, I'm like, "You ready?" And I had one who said, "No, like, I'm not ready. It's still uncomfortable, and also, like, I'm here for it." And I just love that. It's like this like, honesty about this old school way and
Mhm.
this openness to, like, "Okay, I'm actually gonna do this," and then committing to it. So,
Yeah,
I would say, yeah, I am hopeful. I'm
me too.
hopeful, and I love the piece of empowering parents to trust that. And we're not I think that what we're not saying is, like, commenting and critiquing on playing time and all these things, but
No.
I do believe that there is this part of why I created this space is, like, this kind of shaming parents piece around, like,
Mhm.
just let the coaches coach and stay out of it, and I think that that's too extreme. There's a beautiful middle of actually advocating and having your being aware of what's happening, and then in helping your depending on the age of your child, helping them have a conversation with the coach if it's appropriate, and then coming in if you need a support, but that
Yeah,
it's not that we just blindly trust, and it's not that we're knocking on our coach's door, criticizing them or threatening their family. Like, come we
no.
can this invitation for me is this middle, this beautiful,
Yes,
messy middle. Yeah.
absolutely. And what we're saying here is to engage. Let's go back to your statement, which is that the second most important person in
Yeah.
raising a child is a coach. I
Mhm.
was with This is the dead honest truth. I was with my swim coach more than I saw my dad in a
Mhm.
week.
Yeah.
More, way more.
Yeah.
So of course, as a parent, you have to play a role. You have to get involved because this isn't just like hand them over time.
Yep.
It's and if a coach doesn't want his parents somewhat involved, I'm not talking about helicoptering here.
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
talking about like, hey, should they be doing that many reps or this, that. Just generally looking at the flow and affect of a program,
Mhm.
the coach's manner of coaching, those things should be assessed and looked
Yeah.
at as a parent. Any parent who understands that the development of their child is at stake will do this.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, where can people find you? Like, how can they reach out to you, be in touch?
So I have something
Do you have a book
exciting.
release date for your book too?
I don't.
No?
This is
Yeah. Okay,
I've
okay.
started 5 books and I haven't finished one of them. I know this
That's
is
okay. I
terrible.
haven't started any. There it's okay. It's okay. We're good.
Well,
Yeah.
that means we're in the same boat because none of it's done.
Yeah.
So book, I can't tell you about it yet, but the excitement I have brewing right now is
Yeah.
we have created a monthly subscription.
Oh, cool.
So, and it's going to be totally affordable. It's $25 a month. There is a three
Mhm.
month commitment on the front end because we do want buy in at the front and we
Yeah.
want to make sure you're getting the whole experience. And it takes a little
Mhm.
bit, like it's nutrition, all this stuff we're talking about, this intuitive piece. It's like learning a foreign language. You don't learn it
Mhm.
by going to one class you don't speak fluent.
Mhm.
So we want to make sure there's some buy-in here. Plus, you get some goodies. You get like a workbook and some stickers and this special pen that remember when we were kids and those pens that had
Totally.
the 5 different colors.
Yes. Yes.
So
I love it.
they get their special pen because they get to go through their own food log. We didn't even get to talk about food yet. This is like the
Oh
biggest
my
thing. They
goodness.
get to go through their
Yeah.
own food log and take the pen and like, use the
Oh,
red for
cool.
circling or Xing and use the green for
Yeah.
their vegetables. And so it's really fun. It's
This is for
interactive.
athletes and is it for the athletes themselves or the parents? Or
It's
both?
both. It's
Both.
the
Yeah.
athletes are the ones that sign up, but mom and dad are welcome to come in. In fact, I beg them to please come into all of the coaching
Yeah.
calls because this is going to help mom and dad also.
Totally.
So
Yep.
that's my big excitement. We're shooting for
I
that
love it.
mid-August to come to be ready and full.
Okay.
I was doing it in a different way before. I was doing like a program for
Mhm.
teams, but I
Yeah.
realized that I want to hit the masses. I want a
Mhm.
lot of people to have access to these skill sets and this growth development.
I'm in. We're in. I'm in. So let's go. Yeah, like
It's
let's
so
do it.
it's so
Yeah.
fun.
So
I
we'll
love
link
this.
that. Yep. We'll have all that
Yeah.
information. But do you want to say, do you have a
Oh,
website
yeah.
where people can go?
So
Yeah.
I'm terrible with the Instagram, but I'm going to do better. I'm committing to posting and doing all that. So my Instagram is 5D_athlete. And then my
Okay.
website is www.5dathlete.com.
Love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, we'll link that all, and then for sure, and then when we post clips of this too, well, I'll tag you in that as well.
I
Yeah.
love
Oh, I'm
it.
so excited for you. And we definitely need to come back with part 2 with the food, like dial in on food and what you've
Yes.
learned there too. So,
Yes,
yeah.
so much. And
Oh
just
my
remember
goodness.
with food, it is one of those things that can cloud our
Mhm.
ability to really tap into ourselves. So I never knew that all these years I was teaching food the way I was teaching it. But I learned it in the last decade that like, oh, this is what I've been doing all these years with people.
Love it.
It's cleaning up the fog.
So good. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Thank you so much for your time, for your
Thank
energy, for your work
you.
in the world. Like, so I feel so grateful. So,
Well,
and we'll
I'm
shout out
grateful
Eric
to
for
know
connecting
you.
us. Yeah.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you, Eric,
Oh,
of course. We
oh my
love
goodness.
the work there, and thank you for your work that you're doing and
Mhm.
helping parents. This is these skills that they're going to get.
Mhm.
It's needed, and I'm so excited for people to have all of this now available that we didn't have when we were
Yeah.
younger.
Oh, right? Oh, all right. Until next time.
Yes, thank you.